You know, in the world of geopolitics, you think some things are pretty much set in stone, like, national borders. But what happens when a world leader just suggests buying an entire country? This isn't some historical what if. Nope. This is a real-time diplomatic firestorm blowing up around Greenland. And it's forcing a really hard look at sovereignty, strategy, and the whole future of the Arctic.
And their response from Greenland? It was immediate and, well, completely unambiguous. The Prime Minister, Mute Egede, put out this statement and it left zero room for negotiation. This wasn't just a polite pushback, it was a powerful declaration that Greenland's future belongs to its people and its people alone, period.
So what kicked this all off? Well, Donald Trump declared that U.S. control of Greenland was an absolute necessity. And then he took it a step further, suggesting economic pressure and other measures could be on the table if Denmark didn't want to play ball. Suddenly, this whole thing shifted from a kind of strange proposal to a direct threat. Now, Denmark, which handles Greenland's foreign policy and defense, reacted fast. Their foreign minister called the whole thing deeply concerning and basically said this kind of talk just doesn't fly within the U.S.-Danish alliance. I mean, the idea of a sale has come up before in history, but adding the threat of economic pressure, that turned this into a much, much more serious diplomatic problem.
So this really begs the question, why Greenland? What is it about this massive ice-covered island that makes it such a global hotspot? Well, the answer is a mix of military strategy, priceless resources, and, believe it or not, the changing climate itself.
Greenland's value really comes down to three key things. First, you've got Thule Air Base. It's America's northernmost military base, and it's absolutely crucial for missile defense. Second, Greenland is sitting on huge, untapped reserves of rare earth minerals. We're talking about the stuff that's essential for everything from your smartphone to high-tech defense systems. And third, as the Arctic ice melts, new shipping lanes are opening up, which makes Greenland's location more valuable than ever before.
But here's the crucial point that seems to be getting totally lost in the headlines. Greenland isn't just a big chunk of ice and rock. It's a self-governing territory. It's home to 56,000 people, mostly Inuit, with their own government and, importantly, control over their own resources. They even have a path to full independence laid out. These are people actively building their own future.
So you see, approaching this like it's just a simple real estate deal isn't just bad diplomacy. It creates this whole cascade of real-world consequences. Let's actually dig into the diplomatic and economic damage that's already starting to happen.
To really get why this is such a miscalculation, it kind of helps to look back in time. The last time the U.S. bought territory from Denmark was way back in 1917, when they got the Virgin Islands. But that was a totally different era, a colonial transaction between two empires. Today, we live in a world guided by international law and the right to self-determination. You're not negotiating with an empire for a colony, you're talking to an autonomous people about their home. It's a fundamentally different world.
And these consequences? They come with a serious price tag. This number right here, $2.3 billion, that's the value of maintenance contracts at Thule Air Base over the next 5 years. Defense contractors are already warning that messing up the diplomatic relationship with Denmark could put these operations and the thousands of American jobs tied to them directly at risk.
And the economic pain doesn't stop with defense. American energy companies have exploration licenses in Greenland's waters that really depend on stable relations. Then there's adventure tourism, a $45 million a year industry. The last time comments like this were made, back in 2019, one tour company said their bookings dropped by 30%. So you see, this isn't some abstract foreign policy debate. It hits American businesses and workers right where it hurts.
This quote from Rufus Gifford, who is actually the U.S. ambassador to Denmark, just nails it. He said this approach ignores everything we've learned about effective Arctic diplomacy over the past 50 years. That's a really powerful statement coming from someone who has been on the front lines of these relationships. The point is, this isn't just a bad tactic. It's a strategy built on an idea that just doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, now here's the real irony in all of this. A policy that's supposedly all about securing American interests in the Arctic could actually end up doing the exact opposite. By pushing away Greenland and Denmark, the U.S. might be accidentally rolling out the welcome mat for its global rivals. And it's not just a theory. It's already happening. In response to all this pressure, Greenland is actively looking for other partners. They just recently signed $12 billion in new mining deals with European and Asian companies. And Chinese firms? They are intensely interested in those rare earth minerals. Analysts are now warning that this kind of aggressive talk could actually speed up Greenland's push for full independence, creating a power vacuum that rivals like China and Russia would be absolutely thrilled to fill.
And the damage isn't just economic or strategic, it's reputational. One senior researcher put it perfectly. This approach hands China and Russia a massive propaganda victory. It lets them point a finger at the US and say, see, the West only cares about sovereignty when it's convenient for them. That kind of damage to American credibility has real long-term consequences on the world stage. So, given this huge diplomatic mess and the incredibly high stakes, where do things go from here? What are the experts predicting will happen in the short and medium term as this whole thing keeps escalating? Okay, so what can we expect? Well, in the short term, say the next month or two, experts think Greenland will double down on building other friendships with high-level visits to Europe and Asia. At the same time, Denmark will probably be working to get its NATO allies on its side. But looking further out, maybe 6 to 12 months, all this US pressure could have the opposite effect, pushing Greenland to hit the accelerator on its own plans for full independence, just to prove a point.
And this right here, this is the absolute worst-case scenario. This is what keeps American strategists up at night. Picture it, an independent Greenland feeling angry and pushed around by the United States. So, facing economic pressure, it turns to China and signs these huge partnership deals for everything from mining to building infrastructure. And just like that, China gets access to critical minerals and a strategic foothold in the Arctic, all because we treated a potential partner like a piece of property. So, after laying all this out, there are really 3 critical takeaways to remember. First, and this is the most important one, people are not for sale. Any foreign policy that ignores basic human dignity is just doomed to fail. Second, this isn't just a tactical mistake. The whole approach is actually hurting the very strategic interest it's supposed to be protecting. And finally, the future of the Arctic is going to be built on cooperation and mutual respect, not on threats and coercion.
And that brings us to the final big question we have to ask. Is this laser focus on buying Greenland a serious strategic move, or is it really just a distraction from more urgent Arctic problems, like Russia's military buildup or China's growing economic power? Ultimately, this whole situation forces us to ask what real power even looks like in the 21st century. Is it built by buying territory or by building partnerships?